Kind of shuffle into the, I guess, auditorium, as we say here. I do see a lot of comments here. Good to see you guys. We got Scott, Christopher, Lisa, Antonio, Dale, Michael. Good to see you guys. Let me just mute this so we don't get any feedback. And we're over on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook. We're kind of on YouTube, and we're going to have some good times today. A lot of good stuff. Let me just make sure. Let me turn this off so we can. Let me just mute this so we don't get any feedback. Oh, that's what I'm trying to avoid. Okay, cool. Rachel over on LinkedIn. How are you guys? Okay, welcome to the Multifamily Innovation Showcase. For those of you, this is your first time, welcome in. This is where we bring you the latest insights, the strategies to help you succeed in multifamily real estate. And I know that's becoming more and more work as we take on new roles as the world changes and evolves. So my name is Patrick Antrim. I'm the founder and CEO of Multifamily Leadership. We're an events, media, and news platform to do leadership around innovation, technology, leadership, and investments. So that's kind of our core focus. And I'm also the chairman of the Multifamily Innovation Council, which is one of my most exciting parts of the things I get to do. It's great to be with you today. I can see all of your comments here in the chat. So as we go through, make sure you say hello. Good morning, Angela. We got Terry. I've mentioned some Dom. Good to see you, Dom. Great report. Love the process that you go through with what you're working on. So thank you for being here with us. Listen, we got a great show ahead. We're talking today about multifamily marketing frontier, right? This is uncovering innovative strategies that really nobody else is talking about. And I see that as we go through the conversation, you're going to have some time to put in the chat as we discuss things here. This is not designed to be, just a presentation. It's designed for your feedback. A lot of you gave us great insight as we registered. But as you go through the chat, put in questions that you have. We may not get to all of them today, but it'll be a great way to bring those questions into the conversation as we go through the content. We've structured a really good time with you today, so stick with us and we'll have some fun together. Now, before I introduce our guests, I want to give you a few important announcements. The Multifamily Innovation Summit is all that planning and the process for building that event is all underway. And what I want you to do is make sure that, don't wait to get registered. If you're inspired around the things that are happening in the business, you're committed to innovation, technology, leadership, and investments, make sure to get registered today. You're just going to go to multifamilyinnovation.com, and we're bringing together, multifamily investors, developers, operators, third-party managers, and these are the people dedicated to the growth and innovation in the industry. And I've often said that our aim is not to be the biggest event in the industry. Our aim is to have, what I think it was Jason Fried that said, if you put all the art in the world and you put it in a building, it'd be called a warehouse. And what we do is we pluck the innovative minds and leaders around the industry, pull them out of the warehouse. That's where the noise and the distraction and all the things that are going on. And if we put them, if we frame the content and we frame things in the right way, we take a piece of art out of a warehouse, you put it on a white wall, right? Frame it, put a light on it, and it can appreciate the value of the art. And that's all that we do in the things that we do with Innovation Council and some of our events. It's really about that packaging around the things that are going to make life better for you, or you create a bigger and better opportunity for your business. Maybe it's also your career. It may not even be your business, right? But we do have some great experiences planned at that event. And not only are we celebrating the Multifamily Innovation Awards, these awesome categories from like the best places to work, multifamily. Also, we've had like the Multifamily Innovation Bootstrapper Award, which was really awesome last year, and then many other awesome award categories that you can get involved with there. So that's certainly something you're not going to want to miss. But most importantly, we picked about 15 big ideas that are going to impact your business as part of the Innovation Showcase. This one's broadcasted to you here, but in person at that event, we do curate some really interesting things that are happening that could make life better for your business, your customer, your employee, your experience, or your vendors. And we do that as part of what we call the Multifamily Innovation Showcase. And we'll have exclusive talks with Multifamily Innovation Council members, and what we believe to be the highest level networking in multifamily. We call those collision points. So if you're an owner or an operator of 1,500 units or more, and you're watching this today, I want you to know about the Multifamily Innovation Council. It's really simple. Go to multifamilyinnovation.com. There's a button, menu item, click Council. All the information that you want to know is on that page. It's not about just technology. It's about the process of leadership. It's the business process, workflows, automations, rethinking and redesigning our business. And it's innovation that's required to make our business better. And that's how we see technology and innovation. It's not just to buy new things or point solutions. It's literally, we're here to make our business better, right? That's it. That's what we do. Most of you, when you see things out into the marketplace, it's about the property and maybe the investments. You hear lots of charts, or you see lots of charts. You hear a lot of data, concerns, supply, demand fundamentals. You hear supply chain, a lot of these external circumstances, debt, equity, on and on. Your clients, if you're managing for others, are dealing with these things, right? Our brand, we focus on the business of multifamily, the profitable multifamily business. That's what it's about. We are here to drive returns innovatively, not just raising rents, like finding ways to get to the yields so the investors can get their yields and protect that legacy wealth over generations, and not just the raising rents, right? It's more than that. It's top line and bottom line revenue, and you have to have a great business to do that. If you want to have, and I've said this before, if you want to have a great investment, you need to have a great business that oversees it. And that's what our focus in everything that we do is about. And I would imagine that's why you're here today. You're running a portfolio, you're operating a portfolio, you care about your customers, your employees, your investors, your industry partners, and you want to make your business better. You want to do that for your residents, right? You want to create a great culture of success, right, inside your companies. That's why you're here. So if that is you, and I'm not making assumptions here, come join us at the Multifamily Innovation Council. It's if you go to multifamilyinnovation.com/council, you'll see all the information. You can just click Council on the menu item, and you can get more information on that. Now, you might ask, well, why do we have this council? Well, it's really helps us determine what's important in our business, right? It's our current realities, where we are in the business, and what can we do to design a bigger and better future in our business, in our careers. And then it's just about, where do we want to go? Like, who's going to help us get there, right? What we do is we meet every week. It's not required that you attend every meeting. Not all council members attend every meeting. It's not designed to fatigue you, but it's a pulse to understand where you are, what the priorities are, and the balance of knowing, like, what we talk about today is going to be different if you're in tax credit or in senior housing, or build to rent, or you're doing a lease up, or you're in repositions, or you're exiting, or all these different things are going to relate differently to each of our businesses. So we listen to those priorities, those needs, those goals, and we bring that back to the things that we produce, and that's why we're in front of you today, right? We do events like this. We bring the trade show to you. In fact, many of the CEOs, CFOs that are essentially making yes decisions on products, they don't attend events. They're running the financial departments of the business, and many of the events are designed for extroverts, right? So this allows us to reach a broader audience and really help people build a great business. Now, for topics like today, you'll find that the more complex the thing that you're evaluating it and the more time it takes to transfer the knowledge. And what we've learned is that through the council is that people, executives that are in positions, they've got more to do, more external things going on. They don't prefer making decisions inside sales conversations, right? So people are doing their own research, and I think the stats were like 88% of people don't want to talk to a salesperson until they're ready to buy, which means that, a lot of top-level leaders, owners, asset managers, and executives who registered for this today, they're doing their own research, right? And depending on where they are in their buying cycle, from like I want to innovate versus this is something I need now, they will interact and reach out to people as they see fit on their own terms as the business priorities elevate. And I also want to mention that before I forget, I got a little note here. Don't forget, we also have the Multifamily Women's Summit coming up, and that's certainly an event that you definitely don't want to miss that one. So, as multifamily investment professionals, you and I, evaluating management companies, evaluating teams and businesses when we make these investments, we're in a different market now, and I think you would all agree with that. And we're not going to give you really this vague, we need to do efficiency in operations. That's obvious. We're driving top-level revenue or bottom-line revenue through reduction of expenses or reinventing the way that we operate. Right now, when we showcase what we know as asset managers or operators or management companies, like why we're different as a sponsor. I was on a call with somebody yesterday, and they're talking about the value of even knowing the depth of team, the depth of process to have certainty even in a close, right? So it's now our time to really lean in and demonstrate the professionalism of our industry as investment managers and showcase our talents and skills in operating multifamily portfolios. Right? We as executives, we typically are bombarded with information and facts and charts and things like that. We focus on supply and demand. We focus on debt, the changing interest rates, leadership, bringing our challenges, staffing, all that stuff, all the elements of the business. But today, if you're watching this now, I want you to open your mind and really expand your vision for a moment. Just sit with me for this. You can be in a lot of other places, but here, this is about becoming a profitable multifamily business. Now, here's what I mean by that. When we see, as developers, an empty dirt lot, we have a vision for a new deal, right? We're like, we could build this amazing community, and we have this vision of celebrating residents, they're doing holidays or birthdays, and they're living in the vertical buildings that we build. That somebody, entrepreneur, inside the company you have, or the investor that you manage for, had a vision for that, took a substantial risk to make that happen. We respect that, right? We respect the word acquisition. In fact, we put towards acquisition a lot of money. Due diligence and third-party reports and all the disciplines, right? We approach this for real estate, and we look forward, in many cases, many years. Sometimes, and when we're doing it, we're looking for 10-year cycle, right? So we can manage through. How do you predict something even in 3 years? But investors and acquisition teams look forward in what they're doing when they're just looking at a dirt lot. What we do is we bring experts to the table to help us with that. Architects, engineers, right? We got attorneys, you got partners, lenders. I mean, you have teams that come together. This is a team sport. Now, technology is colliding with our industry faster than you'd ever expect, right? In more ways than you would even know or even think, right? And every real estate company is a technology company. Some just haven't realized it yet. But I want you to imagine this. Imagine if you're looking at your next deal, you went to an acquisition, and you had this vision for the land, and you purchased the land, and you're looking 10 years out, and you just went down to, was it Lowe's or Home Depot, and you just started buying lumber and placing it in the ground, sticks in the ground. Let's do this. Let's build. Let's make it happen. We need this. What would happen? You would have some pretty shaky buildings, right? No plans, no disciplines, no foundation. All the engineering specs and the roadmap to what it will be to build something that will last hundreds of years. Now, in many ways, this is how we approach what we do in the digital real estate, and that's what we're talking about here today. We just implement a point solution, right? It's like running to Home Depot and just saying, let's do it, right? We have no real architecture to design the workflow, the business, how it impacts all the different parties when we do something new. And it's costing us a lot. It's a lot of money and partly a lot of things that we're not even doing the math on. Time, distraction to other things, risks. Now let me ask you this. Would you ever go to court without an attorney? You can. You can do that. You've seen people do that. But you may be putting yourself at risk when you don't understand the landscape and have the 100% obsession and focus on knowing how to create the right outcomes for the thing that you're working on. Now, the real estate executive, in my opinion, of the future, really in the future, by the way, is now, what they're going to do is they're going to bring together not only all that stuff, the cap rates, the discipline, the supply-demand fundamentals, the product, the customer, all that stuff, but also they need to be able to combine that with technology. Those fundamentals need to be one now. It's no longer we only have one person in our organization that's like supposed to do things, and they're supposed to figure all this stuff out. Everybody in the organization is using technology right now outside in their own world, just hasn't incorporated into our business at the speeds that would benefit us most. So today, with all of that context set up, with the word acquisition, we understand a discipline and an approach at an executive level when we're making the $1 million investments. But now we're going to talk about the acquisition of even the customer. And what I've done is I've brought in a 20-year executive that's been exclusive focus on multifamily. He's a technologist and has not only developed apartments in his, I don't want to say past life, but like that's why a lot of these products and solutions have been created, is because he's a customer. But he's developing technology to help multifamily companies. And remember, if we're going to do something, it has to make you more profitable, more efficient, create a better experience for your employees or your customers. And this is not what I'm talking about, like overthinking things, okay? Because when you think about customer acquisition, you may be thinking, advertising. You know, and in a couple of instances in our messaging to get you here today, we talked about without adding more advertising, right? But the reality is, if you note, there's a few words in there that are important, is that advertising is probably the most important thing that you do, right? I mean, think of like brands that win, they advertise. How they do that is very different. Like a Tesla does it differently where the customer's doing the advertising. And you're going to hear some strategies in the depth of things on how they stack up and shape up for you that will allow you to benefit from that. But this is a market that we have to play offense on the top line revenue, and we need to be advertising like in as many places as we can. And I love Henry Ford said, stopping advertising is like stopping your watch to save time. Okay? Because I see a lot of people think about, should I do this or that? It's like, do everything until you achieve the objectives you're trying to achieve, right? And I don't want to make suggestions or recommendations, but this is a time that we need to focus on driving that top line revenue. And when that customer acquisition comes into play, we're going to talk about that collision between real estate fundamentals. That's why we have executives here. Right? This isn't a marketing meeting, to technology and how this shapes up for your business. When an executive looks out and sees real estate, they understand like how to evaluate it. They look at the vertical. They see it from 2D and paper plans to 3D in real life. But when we look at the visual understanding of the web architecture, there's a missing gap there, and we're going to try and cover some of that stuff today. That's going to be our focus. What this means to you, I guess, is that we're thinking about marketing. We're going to be talking about websites, SEO, and some of you may think, well, I've got somebody to handle that. And again, this is like you seeing digital real estate as an executive. You may not know what you may not know, and I'll tell you why that's important to you in just a minute. But it's really understanding the customer, how to be consistent, how to automate business processes, how to create a great employee experience, and also a resident experience. So this, as an asset manager overseeing real estate portfolios, I understand that's the leading indicator to driving favorable yields for investments. Now, if more LPs and wealth managers and family office managers understood that, they would ask different questions. But for you, this is ability to understand these things so you can drive great results for your companies. And again, remember, when I say innovation, our brand is Multifamily Leadership, Multifamily Innovation. It's about making the business better. It's not about buying something new or doing something new. It's about making the business better, and that's going to drive everything that you do. That is the differentiator. If you can walk into any organization, regardless of the size of the organization, and make an impact, how valuable are you as an employee? If you're a third-party manager, and these management companies are changing hands right now in different ways because of the moves in the market, they need turnaround teams now. They need efficiencies. They need to be able to drive top-line revenue, right? And that's the differentiator, right? All companies are nothing more than a collection of people. That's what a company is. Your ability to collect the right people, get them working effectively so you can drive yields and show up for the customer, which the outcome to that is success. Now, our teams should be focused on things that matter differently to the business, than like commoditized things like even SEO or even website production and even social media posting, these types of things. I mean, these are the types of things that when you start and stop things, you run risk, right? And sometimes it can be boring work, whereas these things can be automated in some ways, right? We want to, as the asset managers, we want to reduce the opportunity to have errors, right? Imagine having more compliance in your organization as well. We'll talk a little legal on that as well. So let's get the conversation going. You've heard a lot from me, but I want to set the context of why we're here, what we're focused on, and how it can be something valuable that you can take back to your business and become either more profitable or make your business better in some ways. So joining us today, I have Kerry Kirby. He is the CEO and the founder of 365 Connect. Now, this is a leading prop tech firm. You may or may not know about this organization. Kerry lives on the leading edge of innovation. He has, and he won't show you today, but he has 97 technology awards, and he's so busy building great products that he's probably not out there talking to you guys, and we brought him in exclusively to talk with you. So he's served multifamily exclusively for, I don't know, I think it's 20 years. I won't date him for that, but he's also, and this is important to know, is he serves as the chair of technology on our Multifamily Innovation Council. And so I'm super excited to bring on Kerry Kirby with us today. Joining us right now, Kerry Kirby. Welcome in.
Hey, Patrick. Thanks for having me today. I'm excited to be here. Great audience. So I really appreciate everyone coming out.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to say hello to the chat. We've got a lot of great comments here. We're on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, all over the place right now because this is an important topic. We talked about driving top-line revenue. And let me ask you this: this is a time, and I said this in my remarks in the opening, that we need to play offense on being efficient and reinvent and test our assumptions about what it takes to make something happen. And so, tell me a little bit about why you're so focused on these things, given the state of the market. Can you kind of open us up with that?
Yeah. So, we've been putting our heart and soul in automation. So we try to resolve a couple of things. So obviously, been in the technology space in the industry for 20 years. We've exclusively served at our companies in its 20th year of operations. So you can imagine all the different changes and things we've seen. But we're focusing on automation so much because we really look at the landscape of a couple of things. So a piece of digital real estate, I want to say, is not much different than physical anymore. The worlds collide, except the technology piece is constantly moving. So I can build a building, and the building is what it is. I've complied with the laws at the time I built it, and I'm pretty much grandfathered to those laws. Not the same online. I mean, laws are changing, things are changing. So what do we have online? We have risk, we have redundancy. So we want to eliminate risk, we want to eliminate redundancy, and we have an opportunity to drive revenue, because that's where all of our traffic's coming in. Not only all of our leads, but this is the place in the space where we're serving prospects, we're serving our residents after they've moved in. So there's just a lot of things happening, and we're very dependent on everything happening online. So when we first started in business, Patrick, I'll give you a funny story. It was a slow start. People said, people will never lease an apartment online. And now it's like, oh my God, if I'm not number one in Google, I'm just going to dive off the building. You know, everything's online. I need more. So we've come full tilt, and it's not going to stop anytime soon.
Well, I got to ask you, you mentioned risk, redundancy, opportunity to drive revenue. Those are three key elements there that I'd love to focus on today. And I'd love, because we've got the productions here to set up to where you can actually, I'd love to take people through what it actually looks like too. And you can share your screen and do that. Where should we start on the risk side of things? Let's get that out of the way. And you mentioned everything needs to be online, and we're pretty clear about, like, in the physical world, what happened to common areas and parking areas around, like, ADA and the investments that we had. You were either forced to do it from a lawsuit because somebody couldn't access your area, or you had to modify and make accommodations these ways. And then as we build, there's code around, like, how we need to build to make buildings healthy and accessible for all. And so when you're building digital real estate, talk to me about, like, where you see that as a risk.
Well, if I go build a building, obviously, ADA law came in. It was, I think, last time it was modified was 1990. And it's about accessibility. So it's, we know we have to have handicapped parking spaces. It's just become part of what we do when we build buildings. We know they call it public accommodation, if you read the ADA law, has to be accessible to the public. Our leasing centers, our parking when we pull up our any public bathroom, our pool area, have to have lifts. So ADA has always been a little controversial. If you're on one side of it and maybe you're being litigated against, you're like, this law and all this stuff. And if you're on the other side of it and you're disabled, you're visually impaired, you need these things to function. So enter the internet. And this has been an emergence over time, how ADA ties into it. So ADA's clearly been clipped into the internet in a very big way. And if you've not followed it, and we certainly have followed it from step by step, the linchpin has been Domino's Pizza. There was a visually impaired man. He wanted to order pizza. It wouldn't work with a screen reader. Filed a suit against Domino's, went all the way to Supreme Court. Domino's lost. So it has been clipped into it. And this stuff is moving. There's some bills pending in Congress. There are the Department of Justice, who, if you have a ADA violation at your physical building, you deal with them. Well, they're starting to step into ADA, and you can go to, there's a website, ada.gov, and you can navigate around there. And not only will you find the guidelines, but you will find some litigation that has taken place against some big brands out there, and they usually end up in a settlement. So the risk online today is accessibility. It's been, proven.
Well, what's not working in there? What do you see as a challenge right now? What should people be thinking about?
Well, a lot of people, and I just want to back up a second. So when I first got into this, and I do things a little different. Anybody that knows me knows I'm an avid researcher. What did I do? I probably went out and did something nobody else has ever done. I've talked to and communicated with probably two of the most high-profile visually impaired people on the planet, including a global advocate for technology. I had a lengthy conversation with one of them. The other one we would communicate by email. They've been to the White House. I mean, highly known people. And I don't want to eat up our time on that, but if you want more information, I actually published a white paper with them in it on accessibility. But my main focus was, how do you use it? What is it that's missing? How do you access websites? Because our industry and all industries are just quick to jump and try to patch things up. So, fast forward today, where are the holes in the system? Where have I seen the risk at? Well, there's a lot of what I call people that sell quick fixes. And the quick fix is, you see them on websites, what's called an accessibility overlay widget, highly litigated. Please Google these things. You'll see videos online, if you go to YouTube, of visually impaired people and how this doesn't work for them. So I always call it step on the other side of the table for a minute. So if you're visually impaired, your device is going to be configured to what you're used to using. A lot of people use a system called JAWS, which is a screen reader. That website has to talk to them. So you could put your little widget in the corner of the site. They're probably, not going to use it because it's not how they access things. And they're known to interfere with the screen readers that are used. Now, I'm not denouncing every overlay widget out there, but based on what I know about digital accessibility, they are not going to do 100% of the job. And I've kind of gotten a weird space in the ADA. So I actually consult now with a law firm that defends people on accessibility suits. So I have quite a bit of them, including ones with overlay widgets that are sent to me to give advice on. I'm actually in October speaking for the Bar Association to educate attorneys, and I am not an attorney, on this very subject. So I'm pretty much very deep into it, but there's a lot of risk. There's been big operators in our space, as well as small ones that have been either hit with demand letters or straight up lawsuits right out the gate, be it state or federal.
Well, clearly the risk is there. So what's not working, you're saying, is the overlay widgets and this system JAWS. Is that something that people can use and experience themselves?
JAWS is a reader that people that are visually impaired typically use. So that's one of the devices they might pre-configure into their phone or on a computer. Typically, they're working. If you're visually impaired, you're typically using a mobile device.
Well, let's talk. Let's lean now into sort of the website piece of it, because that's a piece of it, right? You got chat widgets, you got the overlay, you got all these other things that are coming into this sort of hub. And, you know, it's interesting. At the Innovation Summit, Jimmy Lancaster, your Chief Product Officer, which was exciting to watch, launched sort of an integrated, origination of the lease, signing it, literally without any human intervention. And it was really interesting in repurposing the way that we work today. And that's kind of like the end game. That's what we're all trying to get to, is the lease. The lease is a contract, and you just said a lot of legal things that may not feel exciting, but at the end of the day, you're not a profitable business if you're spending resources and making problems that you don't have to have go away. But aside from what Jimmy talked about there, which is like getting them into the contract, into the workflows, getting that lease signed, and into the buildings, let's talk about everything that goes before that, like what we present to the world. You know, from the website, the SEO, the content, getting that content seen. Can we talk a little bit about that and what's going to drive growth? Because a lot of that data needs to go back to the ILSs, right?
Right.
In order for it to really be.
As we go through this, also, I will kind of pop in and out of things that are there for a reason, and some of the ADA pieces, because I think it's important for operators to know where the risk is. So I want to talk about how do we reduce that risk. I want to talk about redundant tasks we all do in marketing and how we eliminate those.
Can we go through and like have you kind of like, I don't want to call it like a screen audit, but can you just take us through like how you see a website when you're looking at it, and you're going to show one of the ones you build, right? So you're not showing. Okay, is it a demo site or is it a real live site?
It's a demo site, and toward the end of it, I have a real live dashboard.
All right, so
we've had a lot of questions, analytics. So I have a lot of pieces to cover. So let's pop this up and let's kind of start getting through it, so we don't.
Yeah, I didn't want to show a customer site or something like that, but yeah, let's bring something up and let's take a look. We'll go to the screen.
All right.
So I'm looking at, was it Apex?
Yeah.
Is that
Apex is it's a demo site, but it's a customer product. So we build themes, and when we build themes, what you're looking at, just to pop on ADA for a minute, this theme and all the themes and everything we put into the market, including that chat bot, are certified by a third party for ADA accessibility. Not only are they certified, but it's recertified every 6 months, because ADA online is moving. It's not stagnant. It's not the parking spot in your building. It's ever moving and always changing. The guideline is WCAG. We're certified at WCAG 2.1 AA. 2.2 is getting ready to come out, and it's going to quantum leap to 3.0, which currently sits.
All right, let's talk about, this is beautiful. Is that a real building, or is that a Mid-Journey?
That is actually a real building.
Okay.
So we had someone that had a beautiful rendering. They said, hey, you can use it on your demo site. So this is one of the products that we would build and bring into the market.
All right, so what are we looking? What's important here?
A couple of things real quick. Just I'm going to dove in and out of ADA. This image has words on it, so it has an overlay on it, because there are contrasts that you have to have, certain contrast issues. Things are clickable, addresses, phone numbers, throw it in $1 for a mobile. I want to apply. I want to know the other times you're open. Everything's clickable. Bot certified.
Is that bot like an add-on or an integration, or how does that?
It's our bot. It's totally integrated into the website. Our sites are highly integrated, which we'll kind of walk into as we go through it. But it pulls everything from the website. The website's pulling from, PMSs, revenue management, whatever you would like. So everything's being pulled in. It's an intelligent bot. This bot alone, Patrick, we've won, I think, 6 or 7 awards with I want to also point out that we've won a dozen awards globally on our commitment to ADA. Um, you can see this bot knows I've been here. It said, "Welcome back. Nice to see you again. You're still interested in that awesome one bedroom." So our bots are hyper intelligent, I call it. I know we hear a lot about AI, but we build kind of we call it intelligent automation, because AI is a big catch-all a lot of people use. True AI is machine learning, and we do use some of that in the back end, but I won't bore you with clicking through the bot.
Somebody wants to come here. They're going to look. What are they going to look for? Floor plans? What's the?
Yeah,
And I know the audience probably has better data on that, but
I want to find a home. Okay, what would you like? Well, I want that awesome one bedroom I was looking at.
Now,
right?
Carrie, let me interrupt and say that you mentioned ADA. Now, is this also kind of like what goes through the process? Because you think of like the website, but then you also think like there's other things that they do, like forms and
everything that we have in the market, and it's a lot of stuff. The bot's ADA certified. We have applications, as you brought up. We have a fully automated lease execution system where we can somebody can apply, get approved, and get sent a lease without any intervention from on-site staff. So we're talking about, when I talk about eliminating redundant tasks, I'm talking about people not touching it. That's my definition of elimination, of redundancy. So this is completely certified. It's compliant for mobile. It'll talk to you. It'll talk to your screen reader. It'll tell you where to.
Where do we get pricing on this?
Well, we've got a starting at price, so we'll come in and that's what they're starting at, and we can kind of go down a route, down the path. And I want to apply for it. I want to tour it. I want to learn more. So the bot's pretty loaded up. It's basically everything happening on the website's happening on the spot. So it's pulling real-time pricing and unit availability. So it's a website.
Let's scroll down. Let's see what else. We've seen this top image for a while here. So what else have we got here? There's more real estate here. Take me on a tour.
So homepage, and I do want to point out, look, in our industry, we all have the same assets to work with. We got photos, we got amenities, we got floor plans. It's what you do with them and how we combine some of these things. So everything's clickable. I want to see the amenities. I want to see the floor plans. I want to see the photos. It's the main crux of the property, right? What's our end goal? We want somebody to go to a floor plan and schedule a tour or apply for it. We use content for SEO, so you'll see big content written across our site, but we also have a little secret weapon we'll get into that we use for SEO as well. So we take the real estate and we use all kind of opportunities. You'll see we're able to pull an Instagram feed in here. So we also integrate, which we'll get into as we go, with Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And then we love using mapping. So not only do we love using mapping, but we love the fact that we integrate mobile into our maps. So I'm from out of town. I actually want to come here. I can send this property, its phone number, its website, my address to my mobile phone and get there. And then, of course, we recap our hours, our navigation when we get down to the bottom, and everything falls in just meticulous into mobile. So let's just kind of step through it real quick. And I want to point out some things. Photo gallery, nothing huge, different tabs that you can navigate. A couple of things we do different is we come full screen modal. If you click a photo, we make sure everything's tagged. Why? Because every image has to speak to a screen reader. So think for a minute, ADA, and like I said, I was going to weave in and out of this. I want it to talk to me. Can't do that with a overlay widget. This is human stuff. So it's like building a building. A human has to show up to do a couple of things. So we do all of this, and it's all done inside of our implementation. We bring back the address, share tools. So we do a pretty big production out of the way this works. We don't want to use pop-ups. Pop-ups are very unfriendly, not only to ADA, but there are some articles out online that they've become unfriendly to SEO. So we're a little bit anti-pop-up. Floor plans. This is really what a property's selling. So again, big content. We want to tell you about them. We want you to be able to sort them if there's a lot of stuff there. We want to bring the price ranges. Is it available? How many are available? Do you want to join a wait list if something's not available? And a couple of things we do on our end is we snip stuff. So if you're in a lease up, you have 101 bedrooms, you don't want to dump 100 units on the internet. So we can snip units wherever you want. Our default is 5. We don't like to show more than 5 units. But if we, if somebody wants to show 10, we can do that if they want to show 2. So we kind of live in the middle of PMS systems. So some of the things they may be missing. So let's click into one. So again, SEO wise, another opportunity. You can see my title tag up here just changed. So we use title tags that are unique on each and every page. And then here's our floor plans. When do you want to move in? We can show lease term pricing. A lot of people know that are sitting in our audience. I don't always have lease term pricing. Why? Because my PMS doesn't have it unless I turn on revenue management. I've actually built a middle piece just for that. So if you have some simpler lease term pricing, we can automate that for you and have it bring lease term pricing in, even if your PMS doesn't have it. If you say, look, I want to do, 6, 12, and 18-month leases, and these are the differences I want, we can automate that and make it happen.
Hey, Kerry.
Yeah.
Let me come back to you for a minute.
Okay.
Because I've got a question here from Christopher. And he says, is the bot individually, can you purchase the bot individually, number one? Can you integrate it with other websites? And is it required to purchase and move to your, So the question is, can that, it goes back to, I'm going to answer that and probably say, well, you're kind of bringing in the ecosystem for the ADA compliance but what do you say to that question?
We haven't exported them onto other sites yet. Can it be done? Absolutely. We could do anything. We're technologists. But currently it's working inside of our ecosystem for a couple of reasons. And I think you'll see that as we walk through this.
Yeah, and that's another thing where as we go through this, those questions may come up. At the bottom of this page where you're watching this, for those of you on LinkedIn and all that, you need to go to multifamilyleadership.com and register for this event. But for those of you that are in the registration room and the live stage, at the bottom there, you should see a button where you can get in touch with Kerry's team, and because you're going to have one-on-one conversations based on, I'm sure, their objectives. But anyway, let's go back and talk a little bit more about that SEO piece. A lot of people are looking at, they're advertising, which is great, but then they're looking at beyond that, like they're organic and what impact can they make? Can we go back to the presentation
Sure.
and look at the website?
Yeah. So let's just kind of run through floor plans. So we're able to display units. You can also see that we can pull them offline if somebody's applying on it, so no one applies on top of it. It also has the ability to run 3 different layers of specials. So you can see I have a special on a unit. You can run a special on a floor plan. You can run a special site-wide. If we run a special site-wide, we use a bar at the top. Again, do we do pop-ups? We have people that demand them. So we end up doing them, don't like them, don't advise it, but people do, and we can do it. So if we just click that's got a special, we actually have a code generator. We can generate discount codes. So here we got lease. You can see we use that same modal type that we do back on photos because works well, and it's certified. The other thing, if you follow how users work, is we don't want somebody to come off of a page. So if they're interested, do you want to request a tour? Do you want to inquire? Do you want to apply for it? If it's not available, you'll get a wait list form. Do you want to join a wait list? So one size does not fit all. The other thing is we want to show them some other floor plan options. They didn't see anything here. They didn't fit in their price range. We have some other one bedrooms you might want to choose from. Moving on, amenities, nothing exciting there. It's a list, but for us, it's a content opportunity. It's an SEO opportunity. So you can see we use big content. We use big content if it's pet friendly. We always want our call to actions sitting at the bottom of each page.
Hey, Carrie, are you building this for the team? Like, how does the content get in there? I mean, obviously some of this content is available already.
The unique thing about what we do is we do 100% of everything. So we have content writers. So we write content. We completely build a site. We have customers that give us a name and an address and walk away. And we put everything together. We backfill with stock images if we don't have any. And we hand them a finished product. People, if my experience, 20 years, you can't hand people a thing and say, here, go build your own. They're not website builders. The other thing we do is we want to make sure all the images are tagged. We want to hand you a completely compliant ADA website when we're done. Put together the way that we feel like it should be done, put together with all the content that we is SEO friendly, and give our best foot forward into this thing succeeding. From there, it has a full CMS. If somebody wants to change something, they can change anything and everything on the site, any image, any piece of content, you name it, they can do it. However, we have a huge support team. We like to be involved in that because we want to make sure they don't fall out of compliance.
Can you take me through the lead process, like where they're going, and how are they, like, opening up new tabs? Like, what's the process and when?
No, if we jump back real quick to the floor plan, if you're sharing screen again.
Yeah.
Everything's built in. So if I'm in here and I want to send a lead, you can see it already tagged what floor plan I have. If I just want to inquire, that lead is you're not popping out anywhere. It's going, we have a CMS, but we integrate with every CMS you could possibly think of out there. I'm sure there's something I haven't heard of, but we can put that lead back in your PMS system, any other CMS or CRM you might be using, as well as we have our own, because we kind of want to work like like your computer, your smartphone, your webmail. We have to have a place to hold everything, to sync it and integrate it. So we have a full CMS and CRM built into this. Just kind of trickling down the road here a little bit. Neighborhood, again, another content opportunity to get hyper local with your content. Where's this property? What's it about? The other thing we do is we handcraft, and you can pull this from the web if you want, but we hand select things. So you'll see things like, where's a bank? Where's a doctor? So if I want to go to this clinic, I can punch that in my mobile phone and it'll text it to me, and I'll have it in my pocket, that name, address, contact information. So we make the maps a little more interactive than some of the things you've probably seen out there where it's like, okay, tell me the name of a place. It interacts fully with mobile, which is a little different. But we hand select the things that go on there.
So tap through those. What do we have up there? Because so somebody is deciding, do I want to move to this community? They want to look at not just the buildings, but what's around it.
Fitness centers, what banks are in the area, bus routes, transportation, gas stations, medical, pet parks. Of course, restaurants and dining, schools and shopping. And again, they can be customized, but those are the things that we have found throughout the years that people gravitate to when they move to an area. I think they're pretty commonly known. Is there something out there that I'm sure somebody's looking for? Maybe that's not here, but that's what we have found people to search for when moving to an area.
Now, you mentioned content. I want to lean into that because a lot of people are doing blogging, social media stuff. Tell me where the opportunities are there.
Yeah, so where we get different, right? Because so far you've seen a website, it's ADA compliant, it's or certified, not compliant. Everybody's going to tell you they're compliant. ADA certified. It's got a lot of bells and whistles on it that make it compliant. And again, more contact information, leasing hours. But this is where we get different. So if you click this tab, residence, you're going to come to a page like this. So what we do is we take this opportunity to bring in content. So for example, Saturday's Earth Day. So there's a calendar in here. It's full, but it's full with big content. It just doesn't say Earth Day. It tells you when it is. And there's certain things I'm doing with this data that I'll touch on in a minute. The other thing that we're big in, and we've automated this, and it's taken us, years. So we've built some of our own automation, is content. So we've built in a blogging platform. And what we do is we create in-house, it's proprietary, so we don't take anything from anyone. This is handcrafted. And we have a large library that we've developed over time of lifestyle content. We take those, we pair them with an image, and they kind of go into our automation machine. What's the purpose of the automation machine? It knows that at this property in this city, I just posted how to make your apartment cozier and inviting. And I published that piece of content with an image. The image we have copyright use on. It went onto your website, it went into an RSS feed, and it automatically will post, if you want it to Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. So it'll update all your social media. It'll have a tracking link that'll come back to this piece of content. Now, what's the relevance behind this in SEO? And this is where our industry is missing the boat. In SEO, I see people and they send me things and they're like, this company's going to update my keywords. Please go Google that. Does Google use keywords? Because they don't. So I don't know what you're buying, but you're being robbed. So the magic behind this, Patrick, is every time we post a piece of content, the site grows. Also created another title tag opportunity. So I've created another piece of SEO. I gave Google a reason to come crawl the site again because it's got another piece of content on it. It's not static. I think when we started off on this, most property websites, and go look at one and go count your pages, you might have a dozen pages. The only thing that changes is your pricing and availability. It's static. So if we post one of these a week, in a year, your website's 52 pages bigger. 2 years, it's 100 pages bigger. It's about 30 pages when I hand it to you. So imagine over time, and we can accelerate that you have a 200 or 300 page property website, unheard of in our industry. And I want to show you what it does.
And when you say that, that's the starting and stopping stuff I mentioned. Let me come back to you, Carrie. This is the starting and stopping stuff that, that may not be the best, most productive work for somebody, especially if there's turnover or promotions happening, where if you don't have that automated, that it may not even get done, right? Or you've got different systems and people doing different things that aren't talking. You got an SEO person, you got a marketing person, you got a blogger, and you got all these things. Then you got a web, WordPress or something. You got to update that. Like you got all these different things going on. And so How do you see?
It's one of those. It's a couple of things. It's the ultimate SEO tool, bar none. Why do you think all these businesses blog? All of them, except we don't do it with our apartment communities. We take a 30, 40, $50 million asset and we just sit there with a small static website. Most properties do. But go look at any retailer, they're blogging, they're active on social media. We can kill all those birds, and there's a lot of them, with one stone. And the stone is automation. So we remove errors. We have an image we have copyright use on. We have unique content. We know what market that content was used in, and we don't use it in that market again. We're updating all your social media channels. And what we're doing in SEO world, not only are we building a footprint and giving Google a reason to come crawl this site again, but we're building social signals through social media. If you ever go Google people that are active, or a business that's very active on social media, Twitter pulls up in Google. So does Facebook. It'll all come up on the first page. So it's really about, let's start controlling the first page of Google with our property website. Let's deliver relevant content to our audience that also gives us this huge SEO opportunity. So it's kind of a combination of things happening here. It's the code base that makes it ADA compliant, is so friendly to search engines because everything's readable and can speak to you. How do you think Google works? How do you think its bots work? It doesn't work a whole lot different than a screen reader. So we're growing this website, we're making it bigger, and in addition to that, we're pumping some other content onto the site just to engage the audience. We also, it makes your community come to life. So when I look at a physical property, and I used to build them, that's how I got into this business. You know, I wanted an integral part of the community. I want it to be active. I want it to be a place people want to go to. And why can't we take that stuff, dig it up and put it online? When I used to develop apartments, we put our heart and soul into where's this thing going? What's around us? What I call them external amenities can we leverage? Where's the school at? Where's that restaurant down the street? We bring all that to life. It lives on maps that you can interact with. It lives in content. It lives in a living, breathing site. You can even see I've got the weather up on it. You know, I'm bringing local weather in. I want it to feel like it's doing something. It's alive. So let's step through a couple of more things, Patrick, while we're here. You know, so we have that going on. So we have blogs. We have an event calendar. Most of these things, when I first got into this, are empty. Properties don't have time to put content on it. So what we started doing is we started putting like I showed you on the front page, and we pull it on that front page. It gives us changing content. Earth Day. We don't just put it's Earth Day. Look at the content we got. We also mentioned the property, where it's at. And one of my secret weapons is all this stuff I have RSS feeds coming off of. And if you don't know what those are, they're called really simple syndication. And it's a search engine friendly thing. Well, I'll leave it at that, to take the complexity out of it. The other things we're doing is we're streaming video in it. So we're changing videos out. We have categories. So we have a crew, and we're pumping videos and embedding them across our platform and putting them in the site. They're how-tos, different little subjects like food, health, money, parents. But again, it brings it to life, and it's got a few other things in it. But I want to leap. You know, there's so much more to it, and I don't want to bore everybody, but I want to leap over to something. This is a real site, by the way. This is a real customer. As you said, is that a customer? So this is a dashboard, and a lot of people have been asking about analytics and things. We're analytic freaks. We've built our own. Why? Because we can't get the data we want out of some of the out of the box things. So we can tell you the leads. This is 30 days of data. This is a real 336 unit community sitting in San Antonio, Texas. I've got 124 leads. I got inquiries. I got tours. I got wait lists. I got phone calls. I can tell you what came from Google, what came from Facebook, what came from Bing. If they're using our CRM, their response times, what appointments are coming up. There's a calendar. I can just click through it and the stuff will change. I can pull from your PMS system and show you what's available, what's on notice, or maybe what's coming. I can show you where all the data points of where traffic's coming from. I could show you what's happening with my bot. So, some of my analytics are baked into my system. When somebody asks, can you export the bot? I can. I love it to run in our system because it clips in with so much data. So I can show you how many minutes were spent on the bot, how many leads came from it, page views, visitors, leads, what came from mobile, what came from search, what came from social. So I have some pretty big data, and that's just a dashboard. I get finite as I go in it. I can tell you how many inquiries, tours. I've got leads in here. So if you click down in my CRM, even if I'm synced up and you just want to spend a little time looking, here's somebody. They've been through 7 page views. They've sent 8 messages. Last time somebody's communicated with them. The source that they came through was Google. Channel where they initiated the lead was our website. Some pretty intense data. And the more things we have that use, more data I can capture. And then just to kind of sum this thing up, Patrick, to show you the amount of data I'm collecting, this is just like a list view of it all. So I tell you what operating system, what was mobile, what was desktop, who's returning, who's unique. I want you to look at my blog views. It's 30 days of data, 6,300. And this property's been on our platform a while. It's close to 300 web pages. Pay-per-click ads, 0. Don't need to run any. Market soft, 336 units. I got 1 unit coming up. It's full. So your website should be your ecosystem. On top of all this, fully integrates into all the ILSs. So we've built APIs in, and we just don't update pricing and availability. If you change a photo on the site, we'll change it on the ILSs. And not only do we go out to the ILSs like apartments.com, Zillow, Rent, the Rent.network, but we have a handful of proprietary ILSs that are smaller, but do the job that we go out to on the internet as well as part of our package. So it's a pretty intense situation that we can create between content, listings, SEO. So kind of to sum it up, Patrick, I think these are some of the pieces that our industry's missing some, that we're not leveraging content marketing. We're not leveraging our social media channels properly. I call it weaponizing them. I take social media and I weaponize it. I just want to push content into it. I want the links back off of it. I want to drive traffic off of it. So multifamily or any business is a numbers game. How many leads can I drive in? How many can I convert? It's a numbers game, and we have a machine that drives numbers.
Yeah, and so we've asked our teams to handle these things maybe, and you have these different systems, like you've got SEO, you've got marketing, social media, you've got blogging, you've got these other, you're integrating chat widgets, you're integrating you're bringing a lot of different things into those systems. And when you mentioned the consistency of those web views, of having pages drip over time. I mean, I would imagine that companies can depend on this for consistency and that sort of automation workflow where the teams can pick up the phone or take tours or keep back to leads, and then maybe they could add in their creative stuff that they would do naturally to the social channels that would go in between that content, I would imagine. Absolutely. We do have a couple of questions here. Dale asked, does the process of adding pages of content affect upload speeds? And what I imagine the question is, like, as these pages build into your system, are they optimized for mobile and speed, and is that affected? Like
Absolutely, and no, it wouldn't affect speed. It'd be no different. I look at it like a news site. So a news site is huge, right? Because it keeps building articles over time. Doesn't really slow them down. It's just a bigger site. There's more to navigate to. But our sites are optimized. Everything's cloud hosted. We have incredible infrastructure. So we're used to handling loads and a lot of different traffic and transactions.
Can we get someone from production to put the stage page link in the LinkedIn chat? Because I'm going to direct some people to get in touch with Carrie, and they'll need to be able to know how to do that. So essentially at the bottom of the page is I don't know what it says, like get in touch or talk with us. And because you may have some deeper questions around this, we do have a question here. Where do you get the analytics for? Amanda, thank you for the question. Carrie, where do you get the analytics for the predictive insights based on the tracking of prospects?
We have.
Oh wait, I'm sorry, this jumped on me. Where do you get the analytics report from? What market is a subject property in?
That particular property that I showed you the dashboards in San Antonio, Texas, very heavy apartment market, we'll call it. But the analytics, we custom built them. We're not. I know a lot of people are fans of Google Analytics, and I love it too. It's got data I might not have, but it's very much a box for multiple things. So we custom built them. That's how we're able to finite. It's a tour, it's a lead, where'd it come from? So we've built, I'll call them webhooks out there, so we know where things are coming from.
Very cool. Courtney asks, does reporting have any predictive insights based on the detailed tracking or prospect touch base?
We do have some predictive things, and we're expanding them. So, for example, we can tell you, hey, you've got some leases, or we pull on notice stuff. So we can kind of tell you, look, you've got this inventory coming up. You've got X amount of units on notice. So we're pretty hyper focused on that inventory and what we have to do to keep those apartments leased and make you aware of what's coming.
Very good, very good. Let's see. Katie asks, you mentioned not really needing the PPC ads. Can you elaborate a bit more on this and why? And we're not talking about the ILS stuff. We're talking about the Google PPC. Is that what I think you shared the screen?
Here's my philosophy on ads, right? And you could turn them on, right? And you're going to get some traffic off of them. So I'm not denouncing, pay-per-click ads. But what happens when you turn them off? Your traffic goes away. I want to consistently keep building an organic footprint and own my own traffic. I don't want it to be dependent on, I got to spend, a couple of $1,000s a month to get some. It has a place and a space. I mean, we're Google certified. I actually personally have 4 Google certifications on pay-per-clicks. I just think there's some better routes to get there and not spend the money.
Very good. Let's see. So Kathy asks, does your web design integrate with AppFolio? How does integrations play out with what you're working on?
We have 60 different integration points. There's pretty much not anything that we don't integrate with. I'm sure there's something out there I haven't maybe heard of, but all the PMSs.
Yeah. And when you mentioned the updates, there's that pushback to the ILS. Tell me more about that. So you're doing all that work for them.
So we look at this website a little different. People look at websites. I look at it as an ecosystem. And that ecosystem, I can completely from scratch, ground zero, take everything on this website and we do and build your ad. So a lot of people will update your pricing and availability. We update everything. So you want to change a photo, you want to change an amenity, you added an amenity, you smart locked your community. Congratulations, write it in the amenities. It'll now appear on your ILS network.
What do we need to cover that we didn't cover? I mean, I'm sure there's a lot more to it, and you probably,
I talked about a lot of things. I think the most important thing that I want to leave people with is, we can eliminate, and hopefully I demonstrated that today, redundant tasks. You don't need to have people posting content, finding images. It's going to cost you a fortune. I've automated it and optimized it and updating your social media channels. So somebody doesn't show up today or somebody left. I mean, we're in a tight labor market. But also there's so many errors that can happen, right? Through automation, it's like the robot building a car. It knows, hey, weld that thing, and it does it perfectly each time, every time. So we can automate that. We can automate the updates across ILSs. If you're not using ILSs, there is a pack of ILSs that are in our package that we go out to as well. So we can automate all these things. I think the big thing is the ADA certification. Every 6 months we're auditing. And if you saw where the needle's moving, it's insane. And, Patrick, I've actually spoken at your conference on ADA, and I encourage all the, web companies out there, hey, we need to do this. And the widgets are not the answer. And it's moving so fast, it's not a one and done. And it's not a tool that your developers can use and you say you're compliant. We thought that too. And when we first did one, we said, this is great. And we sent it into an audit firm. We had 180 things we had to fix. It's intense. And it's a whole internal thing you have to put in place. It's expensive. I will not steer you wrong. So any company to take this on, a smaller, some of the smaller web shops, there's no way they can do it. It's an expensive endeavor to go about certifying and recertifying. It's a commitment.
Let me ask you this, Kerry. The call to action, are you able to do, there's probably more to talk through based on how everybody's structured and set up, based on their creative teams or the support teams and their properties, technologies that they're using. If they get in touch with you, what is that going to look like? Are you going to do an audit? Like, do you, how do you work and move people through the process? Because I got to imagine you're moving people away from risky scenarios, not only just on the marketing side of things, but like, what's that look like when most people have a website or something, right?
Right.
So if it's not a lease up and everything's built brand new, how are you moving people from where they are to, fully automated and compliant system?
Well, first off, we'd like to have a discovery call and find out what's working and what's not working for them. I'm not a guy that likes to go out and obliviate competitors and take, and take business from people. Oh, this is better. Come over here. So I like to do a discovery call. What's working, what's not working. This is what we have and this is what we offer. It could be what you're looking for. It could not be what you're looking for. But we like to explain those. We like to have those conversations and at least let people leave the conversation with something. And that something's maybe being more educated about how SEO really works, how ADA really works online. And I think, Patrick, you and I sit in a very privileged position in the Innovation Council. And I hear over and over, and we have over 2 million units now in the Innovation Council. Um, you know, I don't like being sold to. They never tell me how things really work, and we don't do stuff like that. So if you come in and we show you something, 10 to 1, I wanna listen. That's how I built this stuff. I'm probably there too, and I'm gonna bring you know, a technical guy on with us. I'm not going to sit there and sell things. We want to have a discussion. We want to talk about how things work. We want to talk about what you're seeing. I mean, all this was built with industry in mind. It's the industry I live in. So I'm interested in what people have to say.
Well, good. Well, thank you for that. And we're coming up at the end of our time together. Down below on the page, if you'd like to get in touch with Carrie, please go ahead and do that. For those of you out there, I just appreciate you showing up today for your customers, your business, your employees, and all that you want to do in your career. So as an investor or an owner or even an operator, we always try and, do things. It's a team game, right? So thank you for being part of this experience with us. So with that, this will conclude our session today for the Multifamily Innovation Showcase. Carrie, thank you so much for showing up. You have a heart to serve. You've built a product, and you do kind of, I guess, product-led marketing. Your customers do the marketing. So if you're not already a customer of Carrie's, get to know him personally. If nothing else, we'll see you guys in the next show.